Bro, you just gotta learn how to say something. I am telling you this right now. If you do not learn how to be the initiator in conversations, in planning social activities, inviting people to go out, you are gonna be waiting your entire life for somebody else to do that for you. And typically, it's just not gonna happen. It doesn't matter whether you're an introvert or you're extroverted or you just are not used to being somebody who takes the initiative. But I'm just telling you, if you don't ever learn, you're gonna be waiting your entire life and you're gonna be miserable, you're gonna be lonely, you're gonna be sad, and you're not gonna feel like you have any sort of power to change something that you can actually change. The world has a severe shortage of people who take the initiative, and the world needs more people to take the initiative. But it's not easy to take the initiative if you never learn how to take the initiative. So how do you learn how to take the initiative? Well, first let's start with kind of the psychology of why people don't take the initiative. So in your own mind, it's very likely that the reason you don't want to talk first, you don't want to approach that person and make the first conversation, is because it just feels awkward. And awkwardness, what it really is, it is a miscalibrated social awareness. You've become socially miscalibrated. Like if you actually did a brain dead approach to talk to people, like literally go up to somebody, say, hi, my name is Michael, my name is Steve, my name is whatever. What's your name? There is a 99% chance they will shake your hand and then tell you their name. But we overcomplicate it because who that's not a good icebreaker, or that's not a good pickup line, or that's not a good way to make a first impression. The best way to make a good first impression is literally the basics, because most people don't even get that nowadays. I mean, when was the last time somebody officially introduced themselves to you? The point I'm trying to make is that you think something like that is awkward, but it's really not. That's why I say you're socially miscalibrated. So how do we socially recalibrate? How do we get back to our social skills so that we can then take the initiative? So what you have to do is you have to turn your thinking brain off when you're trying to say something, when you're trying to approach somebody, when you're trying to talk. Because the thinking brain is not the same as the part of your brain that imagines a conversation. You can imagine the perfect conversation going perfectly well. And then, let's say you're in middle school and you have a crush and you really, really want to talk to her. You can imagine the most perfect pickup line, the most perfect conversation. But when it actually comes to approaching and saying something to her, you do nothing. You don't say anything because it's not the same. The mistake that we all make, the insane mistake that we all make, is we keep doing the same thing. We keep imagining a conversation, and then we keep going into a conversation expecting it to be like the conversation we had in our heads, but it will never be like that until we socially recalibrate. So the first step to social recalibration is literally to turn your thinking brain off, and you have to trust yourself, trust what your heart is trying to say, or trust the left side of your brain, the other side of your brain that doesn't do the thinking. You have to learn to trust that, because that is where the conversation comes from. Right now, as I am speaking, there isn't a thinking pattern. There isn't this imaginary conversation happening in my head. Words are just coming out and forming, maybe even one by one. Sometimes you see me take a while to form a complete sentence. My brain is working during that, or some part of my brain is working to that. It's not the thinking side. Genuinely, it's just the side that actually contains the social skills. You just gotta learn to trust what your heart is wanting to say and say it. So, let's say that you have a friend and for some reason you just want to talk about bowling, but 1,000 different thoughts come into your mind. How do I bring up this topic? How do I make it not awkward? Should I just say something about it? Should I share a story? The more you think about it, the harder it's going to be for you to actually say something. So when you get that thought about bowling, about wanting to say something about bowling, you just gotta say something about bowling. That other side of the brain will figure it out for you. It will figure out exactly what word to say, how to say it, the tonation, the tone of what you're saying. But you gotta learn to trust it. And if it doesn't get used enough, let's say in your childhood, you don't talk to enough people, you didn't make as much friends, the main side of your brain, the part that overthinks a lot, it becomes hyperactive, while the social part of your brain doesn't get used at all. And you begin to forget how to do basic things like introduce yourself or just wave hello to somebody. Another separate tangent, but I have waved 10 times to people in the last week, and every single time I've gotten an acknowledgement back. Not once have somebody looked away or ignored it or gave me a weird look. It's really the simple things. It's the basic waves, the basic body communication, the smile, the eye contact. Again, these things are automatic, but it makes a world of difference. And I would say don't try to focus, actively focus on doing these things. Again, it's weird because I can't really give you advice on this. It's just, you gotta learn to trust yourself. You gotta learn to trust that other side of your brain to handle the conversation. Because in most cases, let's say you're talking to someone and then the conversation just dies down. Your brain will come up with things to say. Your brain, 99 times out of 100, your brain will come up with a question to ask, or a story to tell, or something you wanted to share. And in the 1 in 100 case that it doesn't, it's okay for the conversation to fade away. But more times than not, your brain will come up with something to prolong the conversation. So you don't have to think about what to say beforehand. You will just naturally do it. Now, let's say you still have cold feet and you don't really know how to trust yourself when it comes to conversation. What if you say something stupid? What if you say something creepy? What if you say something that is actually awkward? And in those cases, you can just apologize. You can just say sorry for saying things that you said. You didn't mean it, or that came out wrong, or it was not what you meant. Okay, another example. Let's just say you want to talk to a girl, but you're afraid of being creepy. Just by having that fear alone, you are probably way less creepy than the actual creepy people out there. Because what creepy people do is they ignore other people's discomfort. If you already have these thoughts about other people's discomfort and not wanting to do that to them, you're 95% less creepy already. The last 5% is just because you don't know stuff. You don't know certain unspoken social rules. In any case, if you do say something creepy, just own it and apologize and try not to do it again. Learn from what you said and don't do it again. I think most people are afraid of making other people uncomfortable. It's a commendable thing to care about other people's comfort, but we really gotta ask one question. Who would make you more uncomfortable? A guy who is quiet all the time and says nothing, or a guy who is awkward, who maybe isn't the best socially, but he says something and he talks and he says stuff. You know his name because he introduced himself to you. Who do you trust more innately? Likely it's just the awkward guy because he made the effort to talk to you, to introduce himself, to say something. The other guy, he could be anything. You don't know because he hasn't said anything. You don't know what he is. You don't know who he is. So if you really are concerned about making people uncomfortable, consider that if they know you, they're more likely to trust you and be more comfortable around you. If you're just quiet, if you don't engage, if you don't say anything, it kind of does make people a little bit more uncomfortable because they're not sure about you. Not that you should be molding who you are just to comfort other people, but please, in this day and age, just have some social decency and just like say something. That's the point of the video. Please just say something, bro. So it's a bit difficult if you're not used to taking the initiative, or you're just really used to being quiet, or you feel like you've made a bad first impression and now you have to like one thing that happened to me a lot was like I would join a group or something, join a class. I wouldn't say anything to people, and then I would just expect like over time that somebody would eventually talk to me, but that never happened. That's wrong. It does happen, but it could have happened way faster if I just initiated with the most basic thing. Hi, my name is Michael. What's your name? Nice to meet you. How long have you been going here? What's like just these basic get to know you questions is that they are the most effective icebreakers because they're so simple. Children can use these things and have good conversations. And don't think you're above it, please. If you think that is awkward or that's not really like that doesn't have enough risk to it, like please. The internet is socially miscalibrating so many people, and you just need to go back to the simple things that worked. I promise you, if you just go back to the simple things, if you just learn to trust yourself when it comes to talking in social situations and learning to not overthink things, just, walking over and introducing yourself, starting with the most basic questions and stuff, you will have a much richer social life. And that's something that people need nowadays. People don't get enough of that. So it would be awesome if you could be one of those people who has an awesome social life. Or maybe you will have an awesome social life. You don't have it yet, but you will have it because you are learning to take the initiative. Like, I'll just share my perspective and my experience. This is like the first time in a long time that I felt that I have been feeling pretty social compared to what I used to be. Like, usually now when I walk past somebody, I wave hello and I get a wave back, and that's such a simple thing. It probably does an amazing thing for your mental health compared to like if you were just inside all day and you didn't do anything. And now, yeah, I really hope that you get to experience what it's like when you finally bite the bullet and you just grow a pair and start initiating, start talking to people, and really putting yourself out there. For me, I'm 23, and it took me until like now to really make this my own thing. I've seen like kids who are like 16 who are very like well-respected young men who are very eloquent, who like introduced themselves to me, and I was just like shocked, like, wow, how can somebody be like that at such a young age? It's like they just bit the bullet, or maybe they had someone to push them to that good influence. So if you've been struggling, if you've not had that before, if you've been the guy who, despite you've been overthinking so much, please just say something, bro. Go up to that person you've been wanting to talk to. Please just say anything, something. Introduce yourself, ask them a question about what they do for work or something. I guarantee you will not regret it. And in the case that they're not interested to talk, that's okay. Because you grew from this. You grew from actually taking that initiative and putting yourself out there more. It's just a beautiful feeling, and I hope that you all get to experience it one day. So anyways, that's it for this video, and thank you for watching.